Joining us now, a guy who has taken the Bengals to elite status in a very short period of time. One of the best teams in the league, one of the best coaches in the league, Zac Taylor. Zac, welcome back.
Big play Bengals right here.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's true, though. You've earned it. I mean, you have. It helps to have Joe Burrow, but still, somebody's got to coach the guy, right? Somebody's got to get the most out of him, and you have.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. You've got a great group of players that are fun to coach, and they got a lot of talent, so that makes it easy.
Yeah, you got talent. You definitely do, but you have done a great job, and Mike said it right. This year, just right off the bat, was there ever a worry of, Super Bowl hangover early in the year, or oh, no, we might not be the same here?
I really didn't feel that way.
Right.
We started 0-2 and then 2-2, and that narrative is out there.
Yeah.
But when you've been in it as long as we have, you know it's a long season. You know what your team's capable of,
right,
and that it'll even out. So we didn't have that fear.
Yeah.
Was there a chip on the shoulder, though? One of the things I said before the season, Zac, that everybody's on the Bills. It's the Bills, the Bills, the Bills. They're the Super Bowl favorites. Well, the Bengals just went there what about us? Why is nobody talking about us? It felt like it took people a while to realize that it wasn't a fluke last year.
It kind of got to that point for us a little bit. We were playing the Titans, I think, in November, and the narrative kept being we got this really difficult schedule we got to play, and we have to go play all these teams. And so that's kind of when it transitioned for us is, well, they got to come play us. We're a great team as well. And so we got a little tired of hearing that at one point, and then we won 10 in a row, and I think that narrative changed.
Where did that they have to play us come from? Because I spoke to one of you guys, I think it may have been Sam Hubbard, and that was the first time I heard that. But it felt like it's something that came out of the locker room. Did you plant that seed and they ran with it?
Yeah, I think you could talk to 10 different guys and 10 different people get credit
claim
for
it
us.
now.
But it's something that I think just naturally we started to feel as a unit, and so we took and ran with it.
Do you ever there's a part of me that when you guys were making your run there down the stretch, I was going, I don't know. I know the last year's team went to the Super Bowl, but I'm not sure this team not better this year. I know you didn't get to the Super Bowl. Most people look at it. But, how did you kind of think those teams stacked up or ranked there?
Well, it was a little more battle-tested this year.
Right.
Last year it just happened pretty quick. We had a great team.
Right.
This year those guys knew what to expect. They knew what that journey was going to be like, how hard it was going to be in December, January. And you got to take advantage of every moment. Can't let any of them slip through.
Yeah.
So, and then you just get on a run and you just try to keep it going. There's a little bit of luck. There's a lot of skill involved, and you just got to make the most of it.
Yeah.
How do you explain the fact that Joe Burrow finds a higher level in the postseason, where he just transforms into a different guy?
I can't explain it. That's why he's the number one pick, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion. Not many people can say that.
Yeah.
He's just built different, and whether that comes from being the son of a coach, his background growing up as a kid, it's hard to put your finger on it. But one thing I will say is his preparation is so consistent. All through the year, all 12 months. And he never wavers from that, and so he's always in a position to be at his best when we need it.
You do deserve some of the credit there. You're Johnny Humble. I've known you for a while, so you're going to be that way. But you did program this robot that's playing quarterback for you guys. Talk about that process. I'm one, Mike will tell you, I go, sometimes I wish the Bengals would motion and move sometimes. But then I come on and go, yeah, but when they run there and stay in their formations, they just always get to the right play. And the balance of that and programming him, it seems where you guys have kind of gone to another level.
There's a balance,
right,
for sure. Right. And there's also teams you play where that doesn't always benefit you where it does.
Right.
And so, with Joe, he's so smart.
Yeah.
He sees things so well. There are times when you don't want to overcomplicate it,
right.
And just let him play fast.
And he'll get to the right play and what you told him.
And we got receivers that can win.
Right.
And so,
right.
Sometimes you don't want to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to just to change things up.
Sure.
But, we try to strike that balance with our guys.
Yeah.
How are we going to navigate dividing cap dollars among great players? Because you're there with Joe, and then next year you're going to be there with Jamar, and T. Higgins is part of that mix along the way. This is a challenge the Bengals have never had.
Yeah.
How is that going to be addressed?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and that's our front office has done a great job of formulating a plan, and then you're always going to have to adjust as things go, obviously. But that's part of being a really good team and having really good players. Their dollar amounts always increase as you win, and they start to play at a high level, and that's just one of the challenges we're going to have to navigate.
I saw a ticked off Zac Taylor, I felt like, at the end of the year, or a side of you that I feel like you don't always show everybody. And can you kind of maybe explain that a little bit? I don't know if it had to do with the coin toss crap or all of that, but you certainly gave, it seemed like Mike said a few minutes ago, an edge to your team that everybody fed off of.
Well, I mean, there comes a point where you want to defend your guys,
Yeah.
you know, and enough is enough, and we feel like we're doing everything we could to put ourselves in a great position, and I just wanted our guys to know that we got their backs.
Right.
You guys keep working hard, and we'll keep fighting for you, and you know, I think it served us well in the field. It gave our guys an edge, and really, you know, kind of went our way in some aspects.
When you say defend your guys, though, you defending them more because of just that, or was there even more? Was it more of like all of it together? Was it him, like what he talked about? Is it just the lack of national attention you were getting, or was it just the coin toss bullcrap rule they were going to throw into the home field thing?
You could probably
put it all
some
together.
mixture of things, yeah. You know, over
Yeah.
time, and again,
Yeah.
our guys were doing everything they could to put themselves in a great position on the field,
Yeah.
and controlling everything they could control,
Right.
And you know, that's all there is to it.
Well, and it really did feel like, despite the tragic side of things, and it's good it's worked out for DeMar Hamlin, you guys just kind of got lost in the shuffle. It was all Bills, Chiefs, and then they throw this weird coin toss curveball. Oh, you won the division, but if you lose to the Ravens, you have to go play there. Just
Right.
It didn't make any sense, and there wasn't a fair allocation for the possibility that you guys would have beaten the Bills that night. And it was kind of, you know, coaches are always looking for something
Yeah.
to get mad about. You didn't have to look very hard. That one just kind of fell into your lap, that something just didn't feel right here.
Well, once the dust settled, it became our path. Our path was we needed to beat Baltimore twice, we needed to go on the road and beat Buffalo, and then we needed to go on the road and beat Kansas City. And so once the dust is settled, there's nothing else to do about it. We embraced it. We wanted that path at the end of the day. Buffalo had been really difficult. They've been 13-1 over their history of home playoff games. We embraced that. We wanted to walk off the field with them 13-2. And so our guys took that edge and ran with it, and unfortunately we just came up a little bit short in Kansas City.
I don't like the last game of the year, then have to play the same team next week in the playoffs. I don't like it. I know it's unavoidable. But, speak to the challenges maybe that gives a head coach or a division rival, played them the last game of the year, and now I got to play in the playoff game. To me, that stinks. I don't like it, and it's got to be hard on you.
It's hard for both teams.
I know.
First of all,
I know.
And are you overthinking things the next
Right,
week?
yeah.
or
How
the
do you
first
find that
week?
balance of?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what the balance is.
Yeah.
I'd never
Yeah.
done it before in my career.
Right.
So it was the first time going through it. We were fortunate enough to win both those games.
Yeah.
So whether what we did was right or wrong, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
We knew they were going to be close games, one-score games.
Right.
That's what they were.
Right.
And, they got a great team, and it's a challenge. We got to play a great team 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
The Chiefs game, it ends with because it really felt like you guys were going to drive down the field and win it with a field goal, and I don't need to run through everything. You know what happened, but it ended with the Joseph Asai hit. How do you process that as a coach? Do you just accept that that possibly happens and there's nothing you can do to avoid it? Or do you try to take something from that you'll use to coach your guys next year?
Yeah, we'll take every coaching tidbit we can, whether it's penalties or opportunities missed for us.
But what could he have done there differently than what he did? Because he's running full speed trying to make a play.
He is 100% energy all the time, practice games, and that's just one time where it bit us.
Yeah.
But there's so many times that has paid off. When we beat Kansas City in December in Cincinnati, he made the play to sack Mahomes because of his endless energy at the end of the game on third down.
Right.
That made him kick the ball to us.
Right, kick it, and you might go down and
the
score.
Field goal, yeah. Because he made that effort play in the first game, we won the game, and then that one gets us in the next one. So, he's a guy who loves football, and he plays his tail off all the time, and it's something that we'll all learn from.
You speak highly of your team. I mean, your team's awesome. I know how much you love them and everything like that. I speak to the team you got this rivalry going with right now, if you don't mind. The Chiefs, just what is it about them? Talk about Mahomes a little bit. You got a magical quarterback. You got to deal with this magical quarterback. Kind of just talk about that rivalry and him and them all together.
Yeah, it's always a battle. We've played them, four times over the last 2 years.
Right.
And they've always come down to the wire.
Right.
We know that. They have great coaches. They have tremendous players. Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, Kelsey, you can name all these guys. And our guys are always up for the challenge, as are they. And it always comes down to the final possession. And, that's a great thing to kind of have that team that's on that level that you get up against and we play them in some big moments. We always play them late in the year in December.
Right.
And we end up playing them in the playoffs. And our guys are always up for the challenge.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When I was growing up, the great teams would kill the bad teams, and when they would cross paths with the great teams, it wouldn't be razor thin all the time. It just feels like so many of these games now come down to a weird thing here or a weird thing there. That should drive you crazy as a coach because you put all this time and effort into it. And every game comes down to some crazy shit, that happens that nobody can control.
We've been in a lot of crazy games, and we take a lot of pride in learning from all of them and trying to carry it over to being able to win the next crazy game, however it plays out. And so we've been in a lot of tight games, a lot of big games. I really do feel like our coaches and players have learned from all of them to keep building us into the team that we hope to continue to become, sustain, and to get us to that championship level where we win a Super Bowl. And we're going to learn from all these experiences. And we're always adding new players along the way. But we're always counting on our guys to remember some of these seasons we've had in the past to get us to that next level.
Yeah, like all right, let's talk about your freak show receiver, Jamar Chase. Just him, like, did you know from get-go it was just going to be like what it is right now, or was there a moment or something that you could speak of to go, oh man, this guy's on a different level?
Yeah, I'd say there's two.
Right.
When we were watching Burrow on the tape before we drafted Burrow, it was who's this other guy that no one's telling us about because he wasn't eligible.
He wasn't eligible. Justin
and can
Jefferson
you imagine if we had this guy? And then the next year at the pro day, I was at Kyle Pitts' pro day down in Florida.
Yeah.
Troy Walters and Duke Tobin and some of those guys were at Jamar's pro day.
Right.
And I remember texting Troy Walters, and he said, no brainer. That was the answer was no brainer after the pro day. He'd taken a year off, opted out. And,
sure.
So those were kind of the first two previews we had of Jamar, and it's fit us really well.
Yeah, and to that, like, speak to like what I mean. Not only I'm always amazed, and almost going back to what we were talking about before. He's lined up to the left. He's such a coverage indicator or a defense indicator because they always have to bend to him or they're worried about being one-on-one. It's great value he gives your offense, or how he makes the defense of the line, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
There's no question.
Yeah.
That's one of the things the challenges we face is we're going to see different coverages every week.
Yeah.
Based on the skill guys that we have out there. So you got Jamar on one side and T on the other.
Yeah.
It's a size matchup for most guys he faces, and then Tyler Boyd in the middle. Who does such a great job. He's one of the premier slot receivers in the league, and so it's really fun for us to be able to navigate those. You can call them challenges, but they're exciting opportunities for us.
Yeah.
Running back Joe Mixon has been the center of some speculation that this may be the end of the road for him, or he's going to have to take a significant pay cut. Do you have any insight on where that's going to go? Is he going to be part of the team in 2023?
Yeah, we're thankful he's under contract, and he's been such a big part of what we did. Voted captain for us, and so again, we're always going to get those questions every year with guys that are on contract and things, but we're happy that he's part of what we're doing.
O-line, like I was worried a little earlier in the year, but they came around and started to play really good football, right?
Yeah.
What was there a moment where you went, okay, I think we've settled in and they got used to our system or feeling comfortable?
Yeah, well, the first 2 weeks we played Pittsburgh, and we
which
got,
sucks to start the year with them.
We got TJ healthy in week 1 and week 9. Those are the only 2 games he played the first 2 games of the season. He got hurt on the last play of our game.
About that, right?
And so, we had a tough one there, and then we played Micah Parsons the next week.
Yeah, right.
And so the narrative was not great to start.
Yeah.
When we knew we'd played 2 of the better pass rushing teams in the league.
Right.
We were kind of getting our feet wet as the season went. Guys really settled down. There was no panic on our end.
Yeah,
I know the narrative was what it was. You can't control that when you give up that many sacks.
Right.
Everybody was involved in that. Play calling, quarterback, O-line, running backs, everybody was involved.
Right.
And I thought those guys really settled in and gave us what we needed.
Yeah.
You said not long ago you're basically going to die at your desk, which has been my approach for years now, and I may be getting close to the point where it happens. But that passion, where does that passion come from, and that commitment, that vision that this is what you want to do indefinitely?
Yeah, it's such. I love being in Cincinnati. I worked for the University of Cincinnati for a year. That's where I fell in love with the city, my wife, the people we were friends with, and then you get to go work for an organization with ownership that I love being around. Genuinely, we have great communication. Duke is the best in the business. Our relationship's tremendous, and so what could possibly be better? I love coaching. I love where I'm doing it at. I love the players we do it with. My family's very happy, and so I can't imagine a better situation anywhere in the world for me.
I know you got to go, but I do want to ask one more just overall NFL philosophical question. Do you get, and I know you got to be careful here a little, but do you get frustrated with the 2 different ways the games are reffed between the regular season and the postseason? As an ex-quarterback and a guy like this, I'm going, man, if I had to play quarterback where that was pass interference all year long, but now we don't call that, that would take some getting used to.
Yeah, I think that's a question for somebody else. So.
That's the best answer you ever gave.
Get on the competition committee, and then we can ask you that question.
Got it.
All right.
All right, well, congratulations on all your success, and we have a feeling you're going to continue to be in the mix for as long as Joe Burrow is around. I mean, he said it himself. The window is his career, and I can't imagine the Bengals ever being anything but competitive as long as that guy's able to play.
We like our players to have confidence in themselves, and Joe's got plenty of it, but he's earned it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, there he is, Zac Taylor. We'll be
I
back
think
with
he
more
agreed
from the
with me.
Combine.
He agreed with me and what I said on the refs.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.